Hello, welcome to the ADHD Rants podcast. I'm your host, Nelly. How are you guys doing this week? I wanted to do a little Batman for a little Halloween edition. It is entirely too hot to be wearing a costume in my room, so I wasn't doing all that. And also, for the ones that weren't too hot, too much work, so I wasn't doing that. But, anyways, how are you guys doing today? Today, for my topic, I want to talk about accountability. This topic is very important to me. There's definitely a lot of growth I've had to do over the years with myself. And as I look around, I feel like there's a lot of growth that other people need to do as well. Accountability is a huge part of who I am today because I do feel once I started taking a look inward at some of the stuff that I do, I definitely started thinking a lot more about certain things that other people were doing to me or I was doing to other people. And so I definitely try my best to hold myself accountable. However, I am not a perfect person. Nobody is. So I definitely have slip ups. One story I want to tell actually just happened recently this week. So I had said a comment to somebody and they did not like the comment that I said. Originally, when the conversation happened, I felt that they were overreacting and had full intentions of just never speaking to this person again. I mean, that was in my mind of, well, since they're going to react like that, I'm just never going to talk to this person again. That was my full intention. I just was just going to call it a day. Wipe my hands of it. However, I mulled over it for a few days and realized that is an overreaction on my part, especially because of a few things. So, one reason why I had that reaction was a trauma response. I was thinking that the reason why they were responding the way they were is because they were trying to manipulate my emotions. That is not always the case. Not always the case at all. Sometimes people just genuinely do have certain emotions about something, and this person was well within their right to have the emotion that they had. Well within their right. However, I was not seeing that at the time. Uh, Sorry, I should have did all this adjusting before I started, but we out here. I forgot where I was. Um, they were entitled to the emotion that they were having. However, I was not viewing it that way. I mulled over it for a few days because I was thinking, again, I was ready to wipe my hands at the situation. And then I started thinking, has this person really overreacted with me a lot? With this particular situation, I made a comment and I didn't really realize what my comment meant to this person. While I was not referring to what they felt I was referring to or thought I was referring to, they still took it that way. And putting myself in their shoes, I definitely understand why they took it that way. Because if I was aware of or remembered, because I feel like maybe I was told and I forgot, um, if I was aware or remembered this situation, that would come across as a very heartless comment, and I agree with that. And so after mulling it over, I decided to go back and apologize. They apologized and said they're sorry if they overreacted. I just left it at that. I've had several run-ins where I'll kind of mull over stuff for a few days and wonder about, is this a trauma response? Because there's been several times in my life where my emotions or my view of things have been manipulated and I'm just ready to go because I'm not dealing with it. I just don't want to deal with that anymore. And so it definitely takes me a minute to where I need to step back and realize and definitely take note of what is happening. Is this person trying to be manipulative, or are they just displaying their own emotions that everybody has a right to display? Sorry, I have an air bubble. With accountability, of course, not only about the thing about trauma response, maybe this doesn't apply to everybody. I feel like it does, but at times I do also um let me start over. Maybe this doesn't apply to everybody, but at times I do feel like I have an ego, and I feel like everybody can have an ego. Maybe you feel differently. I feel like everybody can have a little bit of an ego. So to go back and admit that you're wrong sometimes takes a bit. And sometimes I can easily do it. And other times I feel like digging in my heels, depending on what exactly it is. And that happens. While we are entitled to feel how we want to feel, we might feel right, we still need to take in consideration the other party. And that's what I felt like happened in that particular situation. I was not thinking about the other party, and I did not want to go back and apologize because I felt like it was going to make me look like the bad guy or look stupid. In reality, that wasn't the case. I just needed to let them know I'm there for them because of the fact that I understand my comment came across as heartless. I did not mean for my comment to come across as heartless. I am sorry for what you went through, and please know in no way was I referring to that, and I do stand here with you. Now, are there people that will try to manipulate your emotions? Absolutely. That happens. But that does not mean that you don't take a step back and realize some of the things that you have done. It's not even just this situation. I've had many situations in my life where I needed to take a step back and realize damage I may have been doing. None of us are perfect human beings. I have been an awful person in my past. I say this out loud, and I really want to say this in general. I have made very racist remarks in my past. I've made homophobic remarks in my past. I've made transphobic remarks in my past. People who know me now don't believe that. And trust me, it's true. If you ever knew past me, a lot of people know how I used to be. I'm in no way that person anymore. I just rather not be that way anymore. That was a different chapter of my life that I am going to keep closed. And I don't care about the fact that back then, not only did I used to say, but being around me would say, I need to have thicker skin or people need to learn to take a joke. Those weren't jokes. Not funny ones, anyway. Fuck that. Absolutely not. I no longer make transphobic jokes or homophobic jokes, which is funny about the homophobic ones because I have been queer, at least out. I wouldn't say out, but like partially out of the closet since I was 16. But yes, I used to make very homophobic jokes and say the F bomb a lot. A lot. I've very much changed now, and I have definitely gone back and apologized to people that knew past me, and I have called them certain slurs in my past life. I like to call because I'm not kidding when I say I was a completely different person. So, reason why I also get into that is because I want to segue into what happens a lot whenever, for example, someone gets big on TikTok and their past is dug up of them saying homophobic, racist, transphobic comments, stuff like that. It is so hard for me to just immediately jump on the train if those comments were from 10 years ago. Hell, even 5 years ago. Because I think about the person I was 5 years ago. I was drastically different. Drastically different. And 5 years before that, might as well just been a whole different identity. I have changed so much, and I do believe in 10 years I will be completely different from the person that I am now. I think I will continue to change. I believe that the opinions I have now will grow and change based on what's happening around me, what I learn as I broaden my knowledge of things. I think many outlooks are going to change, and I think people are allowed to do that. Somebody that was once a huge homophobic person can now support the LGBTQ plus community. That is possible. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. Not within my own family, unfortunately, but I've seen it. I do believe people can change. So, when should we be holding people accountable? Because do not get me wrong, there's a part of me that also feels like, well, if they said that once, have they truly changed? Where is the track record showing that they changed? But also, I look at myself. Do I have a track record? Can I show you that I truly changed? The only way you would know that I am not that person is if you know me. And say, for example, if I were to blow up on TikTok tomorrow, nobody knows who the hell I am. They're not going to try and get to know me. They're going to go off screenshots that are circling, a 5-second clip of something that I said 10 years ago, and they're going to take that narrative and run. And that's something that I have the hardest time doing. I really do. Because too often I've seen on the internet people spin a narrative. All too often. All too often. It's very hard for me to jump on that train knowing that I was once an awful person. I mean, dreadful. I have no clue who the hell that was. No, I know exactly who the hell that was. I was trying to fit in and be accepted by a group of people I did not need to be accepted by, especially if it ever meant that they were talking down about the color of my skin. So, accountability. Old me couldn't even spell the fucking word. I would say things like, you need to take a joke, or I'm only just kidding. You're taking it too seriously. You know, just some low key gaslighting. Because that's just normal. If someone doesn't like what you said, just gaslight them. And that'll make things all better. And that's what I found myself doing a lot over the years. I would say something that someone didn't like, and I would gaslight them. And that's it. I would gaslight them, I would brush their feelings aside, and I would just continue. Now, something that I think we all need to realize is, wow, you can be entitled and right. Oh, I didn't plug up my. Okay, I completely forgot to plug up my tablet before I sat down to do all this. Okay. So, something I think we all can agree on is, okay, maybe not all, because I've definitely seen a certain comment section of whenever somebody takes revenge of somebody that cheated on them. But just because you are entitled to your feelings does not mean you are entitled to the actions that you did afterwards. Are you allowed to be upset if someone cheated on you? Absolutely. 100%. Are you allowed to throw their mother's ashes in the ocean after finding out? No. Let's be real here. It's definitely a case of, does the punishment fit the crime? A huge case of that. And so, while we are very much entitled to our feelings, we definitely have to hold ourselves accountable to the actions that we do next. And that is something I realized in my past. I would especially get very harsh whenever I don't like somebody or somebody did me wrong. Oh, you did any of those things? I brushed your feelings aside even more. Now, don't get me wrong. The person I am now is not necessarily about to baby your feelings. I'm still going to do what is needed to protect myself, but there's no need for random and unnecessary nastiness. And that is what I try my best not to do anymore. Try is the key word. I can still be a little petty. But, anyways, we still need to hold ourselves accountable to anything that we do. And that includes when somebody did us wrong. So, something I did sometime last year, I believe, is I reached out to people and I apologized, even to people that did me wrong. And I said, I'm sorry for the actions that I did after XYZ happened. I may have been entitled to my feelings, but I was not entitled to what I did afterwards. Some of these resulted in a conversation, a very pleasant one, and some of them I just never got a response, and that's okay. I just felt very liberated after doing it. And while some people will probably think I am absolutely insane, I felt good. I felt so good and so happy that I did that, because I know there's one thing. It's, I am not a perfect human. I have definitely done things to people and probably still will in my future that is not okay. I still don't want somebody doing something to where, again, the punishment does not fit the crime. One hard thing about this journey, like I said before, when it comes to accountability, is your own ego. It can be very, very, very hard to admit that you're wrong, especially when you are talking about a subject that you are passionate about. It doesn't matter if you're passionate. If you're ill informed, you're ill informed. Or if you do something that is just outright wrong because you're passionate about a subject, it is still wrong. It is still not okay to do. I need to get better pillows. I need to get one of those pillows with the arms. I don't know. Accountability is so many things. It's not just holding yourself accountable to what you do to other people or what they do to you, because you need to call them out and let them know how they made you feel. It's also accountability to yourself. So recently, I have had I don't want to call it a depressive episode. I'm not quite sure what to call it. Maybe it is depression. I'm not sure. But I definitely have had some ups and downs in my life over the last few months. And I look around my room right now. You guys can't see it, those of you that are listening in, or on the YouTube channel because the camera is on me. But my room is a mess. And I know what it means when my room is a mess. I'm not taking care of myself. And sure enough, I haven't been. When I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not eating right, I'm not exercising regularly. I'm not drinking enough water. There's a lot of things I'm not doing. Now, is this completely on me? A lot of this had to do with illness. Yes, I will say that. A lot of this had to do with illness. So it's not 100% on me. But it did also start before I got sick. So I am not going to say that what I'm looking at right now is completely on that. And that being said, when it comes to other things, all of this affects my mental health. To keep my mental health in check, there are so many boxes that I need to check to make sure that they're lining up right. Now, will I have a slip up every now and then? Absolutely. Is there going to be a day I don't check a box? Yes, there's going to be multiple. I'm not going to check all those boxes every single day. But we can tell when we're getting a little too off track, and I've gotten way too off track. And because of that, my mental health has been suffering, and several other things in my life have been suffering. And while I understand that I've been having a lot of downs lately, I still owe it to myself to keep fighting. I know the goals that I have in my life. I know what I want to do. I know what I need to make sure I stay happy. And so I need to keep doing them. Are you telling yourself that? Have you done what you needed to do today to keep your mental health in check? Did you clean your room? Did you eat? Did you go for a walk? Did you work out? Did you read your book? Did you listen to music? Did you do any of your things that you usually do to help keep your mental health in check? Did you take a self-care day? Sometimes self-care is just grabbing a blanket and watching Disney movies. Can I get copyrighted for saying Disney? I don't know how this shit works yet. Definitely the point is, I'm sorry, scratch that. Accountability is something that helps all of us. And I know some people see that word and they're like, yay, accountability, until it actually happens and they're being called out for their bullshit. And then they get defensive. I have done it many times. Many times. I do it often. Whenever I feel I'm getting called out, but I feel they're wrong, I go and look for receipts. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that's absolutely necessary. But sometimes I also need to realize that this is my ego talking. Are there receipts needed? Or can I just do this and move on to the next thing? Is it necessary? Accountability isn't just something you use in working out. It isn't just making sure you go to the gym 3 times a week. It's you said a mean comment, the person told you that they didn't like the comment, and you immediately apologize. It's your friend came to you about something. You responded. They told you that they don't feel supported by you. And you look within and go, okay, what do you need from me to feel supported? You don't take that as a reason to get defensive. Accountability is realizing that sometimes, many times even, you can be wrong. You can be right today and then wrong tomorrow about the same subject. Because information changes a lot of things. There is so much growth that I have done over the years. So much growth. A lot of it through knowledge. that I have gained from talking to friends around the world from my gaming days. I'm still in online communities now from Twitch. Oh my god, I keep having air bubbles. From taking 2 seconds to look into something rather than going by a 30-second clip because people love doing that stuff to bait people. It's the easiest thing to do to get views these days. Accountability is also saying out loud the things you did wrong. Like I said earlier, I used to say very racist comments, very transphobic comments, very homophobic comments. I used to be a very awful person. Very awful person. I used to brush people's feelings aside a lot. A lot of it had to do with the environment I was in, but that does not make it an excuse. Because I easily could have chosen a different environment, but I didn't. And that's accountability too. I put myself in the wrong environment and I finally removed myself from it. Or, I can't really say I did remove myself from it, but some things had to happen before that to kind of force me to remove myself from it. I have grown so much as a person, and I am so glad I am not who I used to be. I am so glad. And I have no doubt in my mind that someone from my past would try to use that against me and say, oh, remember when you used to say this? Remember when you used to act like this? Remember, remember, remember? I have no doubt. And like I said, if I were to blow up on whatever tomorrow, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and somebody goes, oh, that's XYZ. Let's upload these screenshots of things they've said. Yes, I said them. I said them. I said a lot of things. I said a lot of awful things, not even just in my early 20s, in my teens. I said some awful things that I won't repeat because they'll all get me banned. And I'm not laughing in a way that it's funny. That's wrong. I'm not laughing in a way of trying to say that what I did was funny. Just literally, it really will get me banned because the things that I said were not okay. But this was definitely before the era of something goes viral on YouTube because somebody found a 30-second clip. Sorry. Somebody found a 30-second clip. They took it and they decided to circulate it. I did want to say this early enough because I want to keep this podcast going and I always want to be true and authentic to myself, to anyone out there. And I want to encourage everybody to be authentic and embrace who they were in the past. Because something we definitely need to talk about is we're not all the people that we are today. We weren't this way several years ago. I have seen so many groups of people call out other groups of people them racist and then turn around and act racist. And I'll say that. Literally, I'll have a group of friends that say XYZ was acting racist. They should be banned or whatever. It's just like, weren't you just talking racist about Asian people a bit ago? Very interesting. Very interesting. And I do not want some random. Ooh, I almost went in. Let me make this perfectly, perfectly clear. My last comment is not to say that racism does not exist and it is not for you to use and run with it to say, oh, see, blacks do it too. The best way I can sum up a response like that is shut the fuck up. Don't take some small little thing to spin your entire narrative. Shut the hell up. But, anyways, sorry. I needed to say that because I knew if somebody heard that part, they were going to run with it. And they probably still will, but you know. Anyways, we need to hold ourselves accountable to the things that we do to other people, to things that we do to groups of people, especially if we are expecting people to be on our side. So, something that is a huge part of me is I do tend to participate in a lot of activism. I was part of many of the Black Lives Matter protests. It was not my first protest ever. I've been to protests before that. But I. It was my first protest like that. Let me say that. Because, of course, the Black Lives Matter protest was a lot of things that just needed to be talked about. It was a lot of things. Some protests I went to in the past, they were, of course, what's the word I'm looking for? Organized. We'll meet on this day, XYZ. And not to say that change hasn't happened from those protests, but I don't know if a message was quite sent. Whereas I feel like with the Black Lives Matter protests, messages were sent. And so I was part of many of those peaceful protests, and I was out there marching. And definitely what I started to view a lot more around me was if I want somebody to support me in this protest, I need to support them as well. And so, in a lot of things that are going on in the world, whenever there's xenophobia against Asians, whenever people are judging and saying just god awful things about someone's religion or anything, honestly. Let's just say that. Just anything. Because most of the time I hear somebody speak on certain things, it is definitely not justifiable behavior to be speaking the way you are. It's not. And so, if I am going to expect people to support me in the things that I am passionate about, I need to pay attention to what other people are passionate about. Because, like I said in another video, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Because that truly is what we need. We need love in this world. But we also need accountability. So, if I want somebody to not use racist remarks against me, I should not be using racist remarks against other people. Period. I should not be using racist remarks. And whenever they are upset about something that's going on in their community, I need to understand what it is they're upset about. Now, let's also make something else clear, because here's something that I will say kind of irritates me at times. Who is discriminated against more, who has had a worse history, yada yada yada. This is not a contest. It is not a contest. None of us would win it anyways. It is not one that you want to win. Because if you win, you lose. There is no competition. We can all support each other through the hardships of our past without putting each other down. We can understand that history has done a lot of us wrong. A lot of us wrong. Especially those that have a darker skin tone. We can recognize that. We can 100% recognize that. So, whenever you are sitting at your table and you are breaking bread with someone of with someone of Hispanic descent. Sorry. I can't speak. With someone of Asian descent. We've all been through hardships. There is a hard history there in so many places because history is so complicated. And that's just U.S. history. You want to get into world history? Ooh, I can't keep up with world history. I don't know how people do it. But hey, baby, did you want to sit next to me? Oh, I startled him. Hey, baby. What are you looking at? I don't know if you can see him moving on camera or not. What are you doing? Okay, I'm clearly getting distracted. So let me wrap it up here. Accountability. Are you holding yourself accountable? Are you making sure to think about those around you? Whether it's someone you care about or a complete and total stranger. Because let's just remind ourselves, we still need to hold ourselves accountable at all times. Even if somebody has wronged us. Even if we don't know the person. Even if you don't care for the person. Your actions still reflect on you. So you need to hold yourself accountable to that. You look so cute. But ADHD Rants podcast will be streaming on most major platforms. The episode will drop on Sundays, and then the YouTube video will drop either that same Sunday or the following Monday. Always feel free to email me if you want to let me know what you want me to discuss in another video, or if you just need to vent. If you need to vent, please go right ahead. I'm not a therapist. I might give feedback. I don't really like giving advice. I will say that my feedback might be go to therapy. So, as always, Jerry Springer, may he rest in peace. I'm going to sign off with what he likes to say. Take care of yourself and each other. I'll see you on the next episode.